True. Okay, cool. So the last most important thing, talk about self-introduction.
Self-introduction.
Right.
So, yeah.
You asked us to write those things. I feel so...
The personal narrative.
Yeah. I hate that.
You hated it.
I mean, we have to do like, what is that called? It's like a... We have to go
when
to
you had to practice.
Yeah, we have to do that rehearsal. What is that word? English word?
It was like a workshop.
Workshop. Yeah, everybody has to go to the stage and then to go to the front of the classroom and then...
But you got good practice from it, right?
That's true.
So it made it less scary when you can actually practice with people that you're comfortable with.
So write it and then practice with your friends.
Practice with your friends. Record yourself as you're practicing if you're practicing by yourself. So you could see how you're coming across.
Yeah. Okay. So don't just write it and then read and then thought you are good. Recording, hear it back and to make it better and practice to other people. Okay. So what about the content?
So the content. So before I forget this note, you don't want to have your introduction, your elevator pitch memorized, and then whenever you meet someone, just say, "Oh, my name is Rose. what was it? I'm a software engineer. Okay, what's the next thing? Oh, I do this."
I think that will be too much.
Yeah, so you don't want...
I think all my audience are very smart people. they can do a better job.
So you don't recite it. That's not the purpose of it. The purpose of it is you do want to write the full thing out, but the purpose of it is to memorize the key takeaways. So it's like you memorize bullet points of it, and then naturally when you meet someone, you talk around those bullet points. So for example, one of them should obviously be an introduction of who you are and what you do. So if you're a full stack engineer, then you want to talk about that you're a full stack engineer. If you're a front end engineer, you want to say that you're a front end engineer. And you do want to mention in there the main technologies that you work with. So if you code with Ruby on Rails versus JavaScript, you want to mention that as well. So in addition to like the more technical stuff that you work on, you wanna and it depends on the context too. So if it's during an interview, you want to show passion for the software engineering industry. Yeah. So talk about why you're interested in software engineering, why you're in the field, what you hope to contribute to the field in some way. After it's talking like, I'm a software engineer, I'm a back-end engineer, and then you talk about your passion and interest. Your passion and interest. And again, if you're at an interview, then you want to talk very briefly, like two to three sentences about the things that you've built. Just very, very briefly, a high-level overview. And then lastly, you can give them a little bit of a personal blurb. Oh, when I'm not working on software, on building interesting software, I like going hiking, I like sitting out in the park in the sun with you. That type of stuff. Okay. So more personal, like you are a real person. Exactly. And that piece of it is really important. And that's something that a lot of people overlook. But that's what will make you memorable, is your own personality. Yeah, you mentioned about like personal brand, right? Like after the conversation, they can remember you. Yep, exactly. So you have to, before you write this, you have to think about what made you different. What makes you different? What do you care about? What do you genuinely want to contribute to the world with software engineering? That's so good. Your questions, like what you want to contribute to the world, and then what's the second one? What do you care about? So let's say, for example, one of your passions is seeing how machine learning can make business more efficient or something. Then that's something very specific that you can talk about. If you really care about making people's lives easier through maybe better UX UI, that's something you can talk about as well. Or if you're interested in AI, if you're interested in just building really cool applications that help the world move forward in some way. Talk about that. Yeah, I guess because when you talk about something you care about, people can feel you. Yeah, it shows. It shows if you go into an interview and you sound very generic. You're like, oh, I like software engineering because it's cool. I get to be creative and then I get to solve problems. Everybody says that. Yeah. Maybe give a story or something. Give a story. Like if you wanna, let's say you built your first computer when you were 13. That's a cool story to tell. Yeah, even like childhood stories. Like okay. Yeah, but your elevator pitch or introduction should not be more than about 2 minutes. If it is, preferably 90 seconds. If it's more than that, then you're talking too much.
You're talking too much. You're talking too much. You're so. Oh, that's funny. Okay, 90 seconds. Let's time it. Yeah, I think that's the difference between, I don't know if it's Chinese or American thing. Like, what you told me make me think, yeah, that's right. Like, what you care about as a human being.
Yep.
Don't just fake it, or just don't sounds like standard answers.
Yeah, don't fake it. Just be yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody cares about different things. For example, when I do the coding, I care about the front end, the cosmetic things. Some people more care about the architecture,
about the data, the architecture, and all of that.
And then don't feel like bad about yourself. Like, if I don't care about the architecture, maybe there's some people just good at that. And
like, maybe there's something wrong with me. Is it bad that I don't care about the front end?
I just feel that the more sophisticated it is, the more like shows like you are more advanced or better. Sometimes I don't think.
Yeah, don't try to fake it. Don't try to fake it. Don't try to sound more experienced than you actually are. You don't want to say, oh, I mean, I've never worked in software engineering before. I mean, I don't really know how I'm going to do in this job, but please hire me. You don't want to do that, but you also don't want to have the other extreme to where you're talking like you're an expert when you're not.
Yeah.
So talk honestly, but just make sure to keep it positive. And when they ask you a question during the interview that you genuinely don't know, admit that. So,
yeah, that's a good
and even go beyond that. So in addition to admitting it, go beyond that and tell them, that's not something I know right now, but I mean, look up the answer and I'll get back to you. And then you really... And then you actually get back to them with the answer. Yeah.
That will be really, really impressive. All those things you have to do it correctly. So much work to do. Yeah, be positive, admit that. Yeah, sounds like a... Yeah, I think all the students will be trained so well after this, this YouTube video. Because this reminds me all the experience I had with Hack Reactor. I think it's just something like... it's good to know what is the best way to do it, what is the methodology, and then the next step is like you actually put into action and execute it, be consistent. Yeah, so that's
consistency is everything.
Yeah. And
one example that I like giving is like...
One example, okay.
One example is, let's say have you ever seen a McDonald's commercial? To where they have their burger looking all nice, and then it looks really nice and fancy and juicy and really delicious.
Yeah.
And then, so let's say that's your resume and your
cover letter.
In your cover letter, you sound like, ooh, this person knows what they're talking about. Wow, this is very impressive. And then you go to the interview, and then you...
Welcome back. So... Yeah, we talk about the burger right now. So my question is, some students will ask me, oh, it's kind of overwhelming because I have to do networking events, to attend those events, and have to do resume polish, editing, create cover letter, and also practice those algorithm coding challenges. So how can I prioritize them? Yeah, I guess I asked this question earlier, but maybe we can just review it a little bit. Make sure